Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, December 22. It's just coming off 4 a.m. and doing this video early because today is my absolute worst day. It's my worst day of the year. I'll get to that in a minute, but I am going to apologize in advance if A, I don't make it through this entire video, or B, more importantly, I am not active in the chat room today. I'll explain in a little bit. First and foremost, you've got PCE, the big one, the one that Jerome Powell is supposedly focused on today at 8:30. This will make or break whether we get that 8th green week and whether or not the bullish view, which I'll get to as well, is completed as far as our downside move. We've got PCE at 8:30. Not really important as far as consumer spending and personal income, but later on at 10 o'clock, you get the University of Michigan conditions. That is your final news event for the day, 10 o'clock in the morning. So be very well aware of that. As of right now, futures are pretty much flat. NASDAQ's down 46 points, 0.25%. The ES is down 5 points, fractionally. Both are holding right on their 5-day moving averages, as well as the Russell 2000. So I will get to this quickly. Yesterday, 25-point move, gap up, 26 points, 40-point range. Not horrible. Nice to see it. Green close. Worked out quite well over in the alerts. First thing in the morning, SPX gap fill 4,700 puts. They're $1.25 prior to the open. And where are we? You don't need to be there. Yeah, $1.25 ran up to around $6. And then later in the afternoon, as everything had gotten so slow, around 1 o'clock, I said in there's good odds that the lows are in for the day. And the reason I was able to say that is because of my VIX. Seeing that VIX 1451, that's big considering we were in the 12s. And knowing how historically, having watched this over and over, that 1451 will kill your dreams. It's exactly what it did there. Killed the dreams, dropped back to 1410, and ate it. Just absolutely ate 1410, and we're right back to 1339. So anyway, 3 o'clock throughout the double-sided. 47.15 puts are the high-risk play. So is the 47.30 calls. Having come off of Wednesday with that 9,800%, 60 cents to $59, 47.60 puts, I know everybody wanted to be involved. And here you had both sides because we were right at 47.22 when I put this out. Last hour of the day. So where did they wind up? Not bad. The 47.15 puts didn't work. So on the other side of that trade, the 47.30 calls, and right there, what was it, 312? So yeah, right around 312. You're playing around $1.50, $2, and they wound up closing at $17. So there's a lot of money out there to be made on 0 DTE, and 47.45 is above 47.42, and we closed at 47.46.75. God, you say 40 enough times, you start believing that you're not 50 anymore. 51. Yeah, again here, 4700s were plus 20%, 22% year over year, 23% year to date. Over on the spreads, that risky trade, 47.50, 47.45, getting a better than $2. Down to 20 cents. Had no choice. Like I said, posting over there in the room. Spreads room right around 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, you're down to 20 cents. 112. Good odds. The lows are in for today. And they definitely were. We got that plus 1% move. Nothing significant about that as far as tracking, other than that was where I was able to grab that risky trade from the 47.50, 47.45. Never even came close to the edges, either side. Edges still a little bit unreliable, but we are into the full moon window. Full moon window is not 3 calendar days. Full moon window is 3 trading sessions prior to the full moon, after the full moon. So there's a lot available, and we are far from getting any kind of answers as of yet. Today being the 22nd, the last day before the holidays, I wouldn't expect any fireworks, but highlight that your weekly candle, the 8th green week in a row, would be a close above 47.25.58 for today. I'll get to that in a little bit. On the QQQ, a 8th green weekly close would be a close above 404.93. So yesterday, 4-point gap up, and then only a less than 4-point range during the day starts to kind of start smelling like you are in that, toppy, not really getting too far anymore kind of situation. So I'll bring you onto the charts first and foremost. Nike, dude, Arnold, you crushed it, dude. You made a mistake, and it's going to work out in your favor. You got into the Nike puts at the close when you were thinking that you were going to be selling puts, trying to collect some credit. And good thing you didn't, because Nike completely ate the shit, and they downgraded again their forecast moving forward. So I'll zoom you in here. SPX, looking at the week to date, 80-point drop, absolutely zero structure to that. Having had a bounce, having had a dip, and then having had a bounce. I'll get to this in a minute. But again, with this being a green week, 8 weeks in a row, your 5-day moving average will move down fractionally because of this dip that we had. And it will be roughly right around where that 47.30 is. Could be a little bit higher, 47.40, but on the ES, it's up fractionally. NASDAQ up fractionally. The Russell 2000 and the Dow, those are down fractionally. And I'm talking about like 1 or 2 points. So significance will be your above and below the 5-day moving average in today's trading session. Over on QQQ, looking at a 10-day view over here. And again, without a break below 402 and without a break below 399 and close below 399, it's still very difficult to get bearish confirmation, anything, until those moves take place. However, I did notice this. You have these 2 prints right here just before the opening bell yesterday at 403.08 and right after the close yesterday. Same thing, 403.08. Now, I wouldn't really look at these as fake prints only because that's where we closed on Wednesday. So interesting that they're there. Very interesting that they are below the weekly candle, which is 404. But I wouldn't give them too much attention because it's not necessarily what I would call a fake print. So move on from that. So the SPX, I'm going into a bullish wide view of this bounce in this zoomed in view that we have. So the very lack of structure, 1-2, with that tiny fractional little dip that we had when there was a glitch in the bond reporting that one day, and your big gap up and your continued sideways and then your crush upward with the FOMC meeting, the big green candle. We do have a greater than 100% move on what we are calling here the wave 3. The wave 4 is where it gets interesting with the 161. Okay, the bullish 161 being up there right around the all-time highs, 48.11, 48.12. So I'm going to zoom in here into what I'm looking at in a zoomed in kind of view. And from a zoomed in view, it does look very nice, but it needs, obviously, to prove an A wave down, an AB for a C wave to make this B. And if this is going to be a deeper dip for this wave 4, bullish wave 4 I point to you. I love how on these pivots, the 161.8 extension of this, where A, B, and C would equal 161.8, is within pennies of the 23.6 retracement of this move off of the October lows. So for me, that's chart porn right there. That's chart porn looking at it right there. 46.1896, 46.1889, pennies off of each other. Can't say, table pound, it is undoubtedly that's where we're headed to. But for me, that looks absolutely incredible. You need to break that 46.94 and close below it. And you need to break that 46.83. Where was that? This was the 46.94. This was the 46.83. 46.94, 46.83, and then you have your FOMC move. So there is a lot still unanswered. And today, being the Friday before the holidays, PCE obviously going to be big. Michigan numbers obviously going to be big. Which brings me over to the VIX. The VIX here last week, Friday, wouldn't call it a crush, wouldn't call it a rally, kind of went sideways, which is at least better than what we had been getting. And the move here off of Wednesday through that 1339, 1387 problem, 1410, 1451 visit, and then right back down. So for me, this 1339 is going to be your answer. If you break below 1339, forget about it. You're heading towards the 4800s today. 4778, that one that you had just the other day, 4778 undoubtedly would be my attention if we do get that break on the VIX below 1339 with a massive PCE and a massive, Michigan consumer spending number. But then again, it's been a really good week. Wednesday, if you were in the trade, fantastic. If you missed the trade, you had two opportunities yesterday. Today, you're going into Friday, all right? Friday with these weekly candles, and we're just going to bring it up here, all right? These are what everybody around you is sharing. Discord chat rooms, Facebook groups. These are their charts. This is the way that they're charting. Now, I try and make everybody laugh. But these are the charts that they're all sharing, and they're all talking, and they're all, pumping. And this is why you're seeing massive inflows into these ETFs, which are basically being, little baby retail monies. If you wanted to play the risk for a red close on the SPX below 47.25, a slightly safer version as of right now would be the 47.45, 47.40 call credit spread, which as of right now is getting 235. If you wanted to go all the way risk for a close below 47.25, avoiding an eighth green weekly candle, you'd be looking at buying the 47.30, selling the 47.25s, and you'd be getting right now around 350 credit. If you wanted to play the QQQ red weekly candle, which is a break below 404.93 and a close below 404.93, keeping in mind that we do have that 403.08 not only print, but unfilled gap. You'll be looking here at the 405 puts, which as of yesterday's close, were at 47 cents. IWM is working on a sixth green weekly candle. If you wanted to assume that risk for a close below 197.96, knowing that 197 is a massive support for quite a few weeks now, these closed at 49 cents yesterday. The SPY weekly candle, 470.98. If you wanted to take on this risk for a close below 470.98, knowing that you still have your gap to be unfilled from the other day, which is at 468.06, The 471 puts closed right around 60 cents yesterday. So, all right. Hard on the sleeve time. Apologies. Today's December 22nd, 2023. 19 years ago, I'm supposed to get on a plane. I'm over in Spain. Me, Elongate, a couple of guys. We're all out having our big old Christmas bash because we just had an amazing year. So I'm supposed to get on a plane on the 22nd, and I miss it. And where I was going was back to Thailand, to the missus I met when I was living in Thailand back in 2001, 2002. Back in 2002, early part of 2002, they took me out on a trip out into the province and went and saw some temples. So it's just, one of those things that not most people, very few people even do it. There's a little lowrider Honda or Toyota Camry, Toyota Corolla that we had. Just living the life, out there seeing all these Buddhist temples way, way out in the province. Here's me doing my old, 305 Miami pose. And this was one of the images I always remembered was when we went over to the house, we built a house. There was this old lady right across the road. She had to be in her mid-80s. And she's out there in the yard digging with a hoe, sun bright as hell, so that she could plant her little crops. And I've always had those reminders of things like that about fuck up, pick yourself up, stop complaining. There are people that have it so much harder than you. You take so much for granted. So the reason I was going to get on that plane, this being the house that we built over there in the province, 2003, me again, little 305 Miami pose, is that Im and I had a daughter. And a little barbecue we went to. Our daughter, Wave, cutest little thing in the world. So having missed my flight on December 22, 2004, I told them I would get on the next flight available. There wasn't one. I couldn't get on one. So they went to Phuket without me. And it was there, December 26, 2004. I lost my family. So this day, 22nd, has always been really rough. Rough. I mean, rough. But what I did since then, and, the 10-year was really, really tough, but that was kind of where I picked this up, where, helping other people, not just being selfish and doing it all for myself. And having been living over here where I'm at now in the Philippines for 17 years, one of the things that I saw that blew me away was the smiles on the faces of these kids here. It's not their fault, but they're happy, even though they don't have anything. So we donate all of our memberships and we match it, and we go on top of that, and we put them in houses, and we put them in schools, and we've given them places to stay, and we've given them food. And this year, I've teamed up with Child Hope. Tomorrow, we're going to be giving out 1,900 Christmas gifts for kids and their families. We're going to be taking 500 kids to Jollibee and McDonald's over the next 2 days. First time most of them will have ever had a fresh order. And the reason I share these things is because it's a bigger world. It's so much bigger than these credit card bills and wanting to put on, a fucking mahogany wall addition to a fucking house next door to a family that you don't even know their fucking names, but you just try and compete with them. Live your life, man. Live your life. Because I tell you, these kids, they might not have much, but I guarantee you these ones that I caught the other night when I was over in Manila last week playing Santa Claus with a beard that I didn't shave for 5 months just to do it. And these kids that came over and started singing Christmas carols to us, if this doesn't touch your heart, you need to go live in a hole. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.